Hi, this is Tony at Cover Magazine. I'm speaking to Thokozile Mahlangu, the CEO of AIE2023. Thokozile, thank you very much for chatting to me today.
Good afternoon, Tony. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you.
Absolutely. It's so nice to be talking about the conference again. This is always a highlight for us at Cover as well of the year, not just because it's a nice sort of break at Sun City and fun with industry people, but it's also a good time for us to actually connect with people and to see what people talk about and all of those sort of things. It's just like a nice energy release in the middle of the year, and building up steam towards the end of the year. So for me, I think my first one was in 2006. And I don't know how many there has been before until now. Have you got any recollection of that?
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, conference has been running for many, many years. The 2023 version is actually the 49th conference that we have been hosting ever since. So yeah, it has been a while. It has been a while.
So next year we're going to celebrate 50th.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big one. So
yeah, we'll put a nice spin through the 50th one next year, definitely.
Yeah. Now, it's always, I know from my experience, it's difficult to come up with something new every year and to do something different. So please tell us a little bit about the theme, and maybe if there's a bit of a story behind the theme. How did you get to decide this is the theme?
Thank you, Tony. So you are spot on. Trying to keep conference fresh, different, and appealing to the entire financial services sector is one of the challenges that we embrace. How we get to the theme, and not just this year's theme, the themes in general for conference, we take the feedback from delegates from the previous conference. We look at the previous theme as well on how it can lend us onto the next version of conference. We do research on what is happening around us as in the insurance industry, in the financial services sector as a whole, locally and internationally. And from there, we then craft a theme, and we look at different segments of the financial services sector to make sure that the theme is a catch-all. So this year's theme is collaborate, cultivate, and create. And how we came onto that theme, we looked at where we came from in 2019. I mean, with having to live a life, 2020, live a life of a lockdown. We felt there was a need to reconnect and re-engage. And we moved on to last year into resurging and moving out or getting out of the woods and starting a bit of a normal life. And with the past 2 years, we learned that there is a greater growing need of collaboration, which is what we've learned through the 3 years of 2 years of the COVID life. And what we also learned is that for us to collaborate, there's a greater need to sort of cultivate a particular new way of doing business, and to create new solutions as an industry that can take the sector forward and also be relevant to customers. So that's how we got to the theme: collaborate, cultivate, and create.
Oh, brilliant. Now, the setting the scene at the conference always is the keynote. And so the keynote is quite an important draw card, first of all, but it's also very important to, as I said, set the scene, set the mood, all of those sort of things. So who are you surprising us with this year?
Thanks, Tony. So before I get on to who, we crafted the keynote address along the theme, and focused on collaborate as part of the theme and create the other part of the theme. So the topic of the keynote address is how insurance companies can partner with government and NGOs to respond to climate change effects. And there we're really looking at how can we just collaborate, all parties, all relevant parties involved, how can we collaborate and come up with solutions that can be meaningful to society as a whole, beyond being insurers, but really to have a social impact, a societal impact, and meaningful. And it was relevant and befitting for us to engage with Dr. Suleiman from the Gift of the Givers.
Oh,
and that's the person that's going to be delivering the keynote address. He's going to set a nice scene. And the work that he has done locally and internationally is really something we feel the industry and government could really pull together and find solutions to the challenges that we are facing. And we don't have control of climate change, but we can control how we respond to it. Dr. Suleiman will be delivering the keynote address at the conference, and we are also going to recognize him for the good work that he does in the communities in South Africa and everywhere in the world.
Amazing! That is that is absolutely wonderful. I'm so glad, not just because I think it's a coup for the conference, but now I know I'm going to get a chance to interview him personally. Yes. So that is so exciting. Well, I must thank you personally then for that as well. So thank you very much. I look forward to that. And then just obviously with the conference, you get a variety of different people attending from sort of different areas of the industry. They all have a different expectation, a different need besides the collaboration and all of those sort of things. How do you try and satisfy all of them? How do you break that theme up to provide a bit of everything for everyone that attends?
Tony, it's one of our I would say biggest challenge when it comes to conference in crafting the content that is relevant to all areas of insurance. So the conference steering committee really spends a lot of time in conducting research, and we pull all conference partners into the content, SAIA being the conference partner and FIA as a content contributor. So we pull together and really look at all topics that would be relevant to pretty much everyone in the financial services sector. So we've got topics that are going to talk to the reinsurance aspect and really looking at all the losses that have happened, large losses, and then asking ourselves if the reinsurance market is still sustainable to respond to the losses in the industry. And I'm just going to touch on one or two of the topics that we'll also touch on. And with the changes that we have gone through as an industry, as a people, we're also going to have a topic that touches on the prevalence of mental health matters. And we cannot over-discuss, overshare, or really unpack the impact of mental health in our lives, in our business lives, in our personal lives, and really as human beings in general. We're also going to have a topic that looks at the human capital element. And there we have a topic that's going to look at how do we operationalize diversity, equity, and inclusion practically in our day-to-day lives beyond really being a compliance issue. And there we're going to have Stembiso Phakathi, who is the director of transformation at Deloitte, and he's going to first set the scene by presenting a bit on that topic, and then we're going to have Lizanne Botha from the FSCA. He's one of the senior managers at the FSCA, who's going to join that topic as a panelist. And we have Professor Karen Schippers, a professor at Gibbs, who's also going to be part of that panel. These are experts that are really going to look at the different angles of DEI and really unpack it and make it relevant. We also have seen, with all the losses that have happened, I mean, the bigger impact of COVID, the big floods we had, and really the risks are changing. The cyber impact, the risks are changing. So we're also going to have a topic that looks at opportunities that are presented by the evolving landscape of risks. And there we're going to look at, yes, the impact of climate change on the risks, the impact of cybersecurity, the impact of load shedding and the grid failure on risk assessment, the protection gap that is brought about by all that, and how do we as an industry then respond to the changing landscape. So it's going to be really interesting and also challenging our thinking. We also have a topic that's going to look at the impact of grey listing on the life and the non-life industry, and the economy as a whole. And we're also going to touch on a topic that looks at the risks of kidnapping. Who is prone to kidnapping? We are picking up trends that it's no longer the high-profile people that are prone to kidnapping, but you and I are also prone to it, and just a lay person, innocent people are also prone to kidnapping. So there'll be a topic that touches on that as well. Another topic which we picked up from research, which is quite interesting, is the virtual lives that we live is increasing visits to emergency rooms. So we're going to have medical doctors being part of that topic, and really unpacking how we are impacted by the virtual world. It's making life easier. You and I are able to have this interview, but there's an impact, an indirect impact that leads people to emergency rooms. It's leading to fatalities. So there is an element that we'll look at. I'll park there for now, Tony. There is a whole lot.
There's a lot.
There is a lot. There's a lot. So as you can see, the topics are really trying to address all areas of the financial services sector, but all areas of the economy, macroeconomy, as well. So yeah, that's I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay, brilliant. No, it sounds very, very exciting. And just in closing, then, how does the registrations look? The interest?
It's looking really good. As it yesterday, we are sitting at about 61% of our target of 900 delegates. And the nice fair balance between gender, 45% of the registrants are female, 55% are male. So yeah, it's taking up quite nicely. We are going to be starting with the showcasing the speakers, and normally when we do that, we see an uptake of the registrations as well. I think we are going to be oversubscribed again this year. So I would close off by calling upon those that have not registered to take up the opportunity to register before we close registration in June. Thanks, Tony.
My seat is booked, so I'm okay. I'll be there. Yes, I will see you there, most definitely. Thokozile, it was so nice talking to you. And thanks for putting up this really great conference. It's such a fantastic place every year to catch up with people. So I really look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tony. Really appreciate your continued support as a media partner for conference. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Thokozile.